a bit more exposure to it if you feel like it makes life easier?
Yeah, well, I will I will get in touch with Greg, and he said he was going to handle it personally, and so.
So does this mean that your form, when it's filled out, is going directly to Greg to decide?
Well, I mean, this is a ridiculous situation. He's the CEO, and he shouldn't do administrative things, I think. So I'm going to email him about if he's aware what kind of mess he's creating with this email suggestion.
You're not aware of the form is how I'm reading the situation. So I think if you put the form in front of him, then he can, whoever emails him, he can say, here, fill out this form. So.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to be tricky, just send the results of all the forms to that email address. That sounds a bit overwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's creating a lot of manual work and copy paste and I don't know what. So you can make a lot of errors and well, it's completely.
There was another process that Kenny Rowe suggested a few days ago, and it nearly took off. Unfortunately, he got sidetracked having to do some financial reporting to the state of Washington. But there was a wonderful idea for a web of trust type system for pre-authorizing people's expenses. But it looks like that fell through. So Greg just jumped in and I guess was looking to handle this himself. Just a little more background on my view of the situation.
Okay, I will also talk with Kenny then, because he has nice ideas. Yeah. Chantal, maybe next subject?
Sure, no problem. So I know we spoke about the Telegram members last week, that we had about 800 and we weren't going to do a big announcement, but we were thinking of doing something when we reach 1,000. I was wondering, do we have an update if we have reached that 1,000 members and if we know what the announcement is going to be? Are we going to do something with it for marketing or go out with a message or a blog post, or I don't know, just some suggestions?
I have an announcement. Today, Discord reached 1,000 users. So we're neck and neck between between Telegram and Discord. And on Discord, there's a process where members can verify themselves. So they get on webcam and they show their ID. So we're sure that we know who they are. And that's part of the process that the co-op needs for when we do the Rev rebate at the end of the year for members. But it's only about 20% of the people on Discord who have gone through that verification process.
So what are we doing about those other 80%? Is that a matter of following up?
Well, the Discord is open to both public membership, and there are a few channels that are only for members. So it's just fine that that it's only a fraction of users that that opt for that kind of membership. Maybe some of them want to remain anonymous. That's okay.
All right. And do we know what the overlap is between the users on Discord and the users on Telegram?
It's very hard to determine because the platforms are not owned or controlled by the co-op. Discord is run by Discord, Telegram by Telegram. So it's a challenge to verify identities.
Okay. And so for us, from a marketing point of view, what's more important, whether Telegram or Discord reaches 1,000 members, or doesn't it really matter? And what are we going to do?
I'm curious about your marketing goals. So who are you marketing toward?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I just know that last week it was mentioned that an announcement was going to be made when we made 1,000, when we had 1,000 members on Telegram. So I was wondering if there was any reasoning behind that and what the announcement would be.
Is Kit still here?
Yeah, sorry, I was just chat. I don't have a good answer for that. I was thinking about it because I saw it in the agenda, and we stopped announcing the 100 level, like 700, 800, 900. We just skipped it, and we figured, well, we'll wait for 1,000. But we haven't actually decided anything special or spectacular. If anybody has any ideas, they'd be welcome.
Maybe there are now several groups, like for China and for Africa and for France and for Holland. There we could launch the new initiative again, maybe by 100, 200, whatever. And yeah. Philip had also a question. Philip, can you say something about the matrix? He wants to go open source. But communication platform change is quite a thing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, maybe we should start focusing just on building something on RChain. Yeah. We can use Telegram, Discord, whatever, but throw them away when we have something on RChain, and we eat our own dog food.
Okay.
Now, if you want to port Riot or Matrix onto RChain, then hey, make a proposal and find some developers, and we will fund you.
Well, I mean, along those lines, does it make more sense to be able to say you use whatever platform you want to use, and there is a method to communicate and among whatever X number of these platforms, or not? Would that be a valid or interesting proposal?
Well, if I can clarify, at least for Discord, so Greg Meredith originally set up the Discord as a platform where the membership can communicate with the co-op leadership and with the development team. But since Telegram is such a popular outlet for crypto advocates, that's a great place where we should be talking as well. And then we have these other places like Mattermost, which is an up-and-coming platform. So I mean, people are going to gravitate to whichever platform they like. We can be agnostic.
Our task in the social ledger project is to link identities between these platforms and bridge channels carrying identity across them.
Yeah, I think that's probably doable. At least on the membership side, we have one master list, a database that has people's uploaded IDs and their verified email addresses. So hopefully we can create some bots or something that can connect to other applications and chat platforms and help with that identity project.
Looks like Philip's comment in the chat says that he thinks that it may not make sense to map the multiple communication platforms themselves to talk to each other. I think that's what he's saying. I'm not sure.
Oh, we're already bridging channels between them. What we aren't doing is carrying the identity across. And so what we're building is we're collecting the identities that you bring, whether it's Telegram, Discord, Mattermost, and using OAuth to so that these bots can, in essence, act on your behalf between communication environments and the tools we use, like Google and GitHub. You know, integrating our tools into the communications environment. I think we have a number of bots that we're using today, and look to make those more intelligent by respecting identity across the different tools that you use and the channels that you're bridged to.
Ian, was there something you wanted to say, or did you unmute?
No, I'm sorry if I was typing too loudly.
No problem.
The question remained there, right? The first question Ian asked, which one we wanna focus and what we wanna communicate. Did we finalize the answer yet, or no? We are still looking for that answer.
Turn your volume up. I'll just...
Could you repeat the question, David?
SJ, I was asking what Ian asked, where do you want to focus from a communication side and what we want to communicate. I think, I was just thinking, and I'm thinking aloud, probably you guys can, can help me make it better argument. That would be really nice. I think we should communicate in both channels, Discord as well as Telegram. In what you guys have done with Telegram is a fantastic. There are 900 people, and community seems to be pretty engaged. A lot of new people coming in, and then of course their motivation may be different than what the people are in Discord. But communicating about the governance meeting there also definitely makes sense to me. If you just want to focus on the governance meeting for at least the next 3 or 4 weeks. Ian, does it make sense? I think that's what you're looking for, right? That's the kind of question you're asking for.
I agree with you. Just focusing on the governance forum is a good idea. That's coming up very quickly.
Right. Kate or SJ, anybody else? Jim?
Well, maybe you can stimulate people to talk about governance, but they talk whatever they want, of course.
I agree with that. I mean, we can't stop them from our side, from a communication point of view. If you have to steer them more, I mean, I think there are very vocal people, especially in Discord. I have seen few people are engaged in discussions in a positive way, whether it's going to make sense for us as a co-op is a different question. And of course, there are many members, if they agree to their arguments, then of course, a portion of it can be included into our governance. So Jim, you worked in the past, the liquid democracy. I remember 8-9 months back. What happened to that? Is still alive, or what's going on with that project?
Yeah, still alive. I mean, there's a number of implementations for Ethereum that we could employ. Right now, we're focusing on the governance forum and also automating our processes, which involves OAuth, the Discord, and Mattermost, and GitHub and Google Sheets, where we can feedback, connect our channels, and connect to our tools.
So is there a way portion of it can be used or retrofit, taking the some good stuff? I mean, I hope everything is good. I mean, I haven't gotten into deep detail about liquid democracy ever. Can be portion of it, or few good items which other people may think is good for our co-op governance model. Can it be incorporated into portion of it? I mean, you can share with among us and see what we can pick portion of it. And I think same goes with SJ also. I think SJ was picking up portion of from the European private pirate party. I'm not sure the whole
Sweden.
whole thing, picking up verbatim by verbatim or word by word makes sense for us, because as a co-op, it may not be very effective on us. But I think we can, pick up some good stuff from there and marry what Jim was talking about. And, of course, we will take input from our community members also from Discord, and then, create a good, effective model. I mean, I think we have a choice to pick up good stuff from everything and which works for co-op. I mean, people have already spent enough time in governance, even if we have to do that, picking up the good thing from other place, why not, right? I mean, otherwise, we spoke to a lady other 2 weeks back. Her name is Utah. She's pretty famous in governance and co-op area. And then Colin, her colleague, they are pretty famous. And I think you guys were engaging Trevor also, right? Trevor, to do some editing in, or you wanted to invite him our governance meeting. Probably you can start that channel also, ask them to join. But we have already done, or we already have enough work which we can pick up and fit into our co-op model. I mean, creating from scratch our model, personally doesn't make sense, and picking up from one category is also not fair for us, right? From co-op, the way we are operating, and considering our organization is pretty new, I think we may need a lot of hand-holding from outsiders for our governance at this moment.
There are some excellent work being done in the HoloChain CoGov effort that we should seriously look at, as well as the Digital Life Collective. A lot of things thought leaders have come together in terms of the developing the ungovernance, more ungovernance type concepts that are in both HoloChain and Dig Life, which I think are revolutionary, and it's not the way that we normally think about governance, but there's an excellent video that Johann put together on governance of software. And I think it's a very important perspective that we should think about in terms of how we're building this, and how, my perspective is everything we're building now in the social ledger is targeted specifically for RChain, and now's the opportunity for others to get involved in, creating a social ledger that embodies the principles of RChain.
The way I see, we have so many discrete source of information. How we can collect it, I think Jan has already shared some of the things. So the idea, the direction I am trying to drive us, coming to a consensus in terms of how the law is defined and how our bylaws are defined in cooperative, and the work you guys are doing, how to come together. At this moment, SJ, you have your own thinking, and Jim, you have done in the past so many things, and then we have our own bylaws from co-op side. So from a legal point of view, we may not be able to change our bylaw at this moment. For that, we may need complete consensus from community if they agree on that. But the idea is, rather than having so many source of information looking for, I think we should create our own. And I recall, looking at this why cooperative document also, right? So Jim, you have your own idea. Somebody wrote that document, and SJ, you have your own idea also in that one, right? So how to pick up the right one? If we give this kind of document to everybody, this could be a problem for us in terms of marketing as well as what we are telling them. Oh, Ian, go ahead. What you're saying?
Yeah, no, the why cooperative document that you're talking about, I have a lot of issues with that. I tried to put together, I put a link in the chat, a document that just summarizes what our governance actually is based on the laws of the state of Washington and the universal cooperative principles that and our membership in the NCUSA CLUSA and our bylaws. I mean, it's all there. So we're really not working from scratch. So, I mean, I encourage you to take a look at that document and comment on it. What was published as the Why Co-op was, one person's particular view of the cooperative movement, but it was presented as kind of like an anti-capitalist screed that just, I don't think that gels with how most people see co-ops. I mean, co-ops are not anti-market. They don't have to be.
So, Ian, what I was driving to, coming to a consensus in terms of how we can resolve these kind of differences, right? This document you have shared, I think this has much more how the law is governed with the co-op, or the law we need to follow as a co-op from Washington State, and what some of the community members feel about how co-op should work, function, and act, sort of thing. So how we can marry these things, following the law, and at the same time, so that community member also feel comfortable that what they are signing up is what they are looking for. It's good for them as a community or not.
I'm not following you. I mean, what I published there is what is already established. Now we have lots of room for how we govern individual committees or groups from the bottom up. But I mean, there is already a skeleton which is in place that we don't really have much choice about. I mean, we can't rewrite the foundations. I mean, unless we reincorporate the co-op or decide that we're not pursuing nonprofit status, or we don't want to be a co-op. I mean, this is already written, okay?
Yeah.
Well, Digital Life is a UK collective, and they're faced with this problem that collectives have a certain legal structure and legal responsibilities, and that's what's represented in this document. But the members ultimately have the power to create whatever structure they want. Okay, it doesn't contradict the legal structure at all, because they consented to this other form of governance. Okay, and I think that certainly the governance that Greg has been advocating doesn't have this structure. Okay, it has a different structure. Okay, and so largely what I'm suggesting here is that the governance structure that we create according to the will of the leaders and the members of the community here can be considered independently of the legal structure, as long as we follow the basic rules in terms of, yes, the members voted to do it this way.
Sounds like you're talking about a big rewrite. I mean,
Not a rewrite. This is a legal structure. You know, we're not rewriting it, but we're coming up with a means of making decisions that
if I may, actually, if you look at like a typical company, let's say, that also has a legal structure and has to follow state law, federal law, all of that, which is kind of what is represented in this document. But there is still the business model discussion for that particular company and the strategy discussion for that particular company to say, okay, no, within whatever we incorporated ourselves to be, what is it that we're going to do and how are we going to do that? So I think my question is for this co-op, that the equivalent of a business model and the strategy beyond what you would incorporate yourself as a cooperative, and there are some rules you need to follow. Is that clear anywhere where we can say, okay, here are 6 different kinds of stakeholders in the membership, and here is what each of them would want, and here is how that all comes together within the context of the bylaws commitments that we have to the state and the federal? That is not clear to me if that's been defined and agreed to by the membership.
Raul, I think you hit the nail on the head. So we need to bring all these stakeholders together. And I think that's what Greg is trying to do at the governance forum.
Okay, yeah, that was the reason why I was interested in the agenda, because in my mind, it's not clear to me what, I said this in a different way in the previous meeting also, you know, for example, a business says, we need a way to increase sales. Now, for this cooperative, what are the 6 different things that they want to increase, decrease, manage, create, whatever that is? And that is not clear to me. And there should be enough agenda items in the meeting to arrive at that so that we can say, okay, at least we have the first cut at it. So then we can define everything else behind that, the processes, the behaviors, the incentives, the structures that will help enable grow that thing that we agree that it is the good thing to grow, whatever that is.
Also, I have to say that, so this governance forum was first called by Vlad Zamfir, and the emphasis on the meeting is really on blockchain governance. And so far in our meeting today, we're really just talking about cooperative governance. Now, I mean, there's plenty of overlap, but perhaps the cooperative governance is not adequately represented in the current agenda for the governance forum.
So, okay, so wait a minute, please. Because we have not much time left, I would suggest that Raul takes contact with, how is it called? Greg, yeah, to find out if we can have a link and have influence on the agenda of the governance meeting. And maybe we can discuss in another place about governance items themselves, because
I second that. I'd love to see Raul become more involved here.
Yeah, I agree. You know, so I will try to find out agenda. If I can't, then of course we can ask the same question in our next weekly hangout, and you know, ask more clarity from these people that what kind of agenda. So my understanding is, you know, focusing on a couple of things from my side. One is the, you know, in general, the blockchain, and then second, rather than co-op governance, because it's already, you know, people have already worked on co-op governance for a long time. I think the question is in terms of the blockchain governance, and I think what Vlad is focusing on, or what we can focus on, you know, one on the software side, how to govern a co-op which is based on, you know, as a deliverable of a software which will be used, you know, by everybody. And that's when I think Rob mentioned he raised a good point that what we are delivering, I think end of the day, we are delivering a platform so that people can use it. And the value what we are providing with the platform is much more decentralization. I think what we are doing, we are marrying a bunch of things together. We have a technical delivery at the same time. We are trying to do co-op, and I think blockchain, all these things together. So I'm coming back to my point earlier point for the agenda. One is the blockchain governance. Second would be our delivery, or how we want to govern ourselves as a co-op. I think we already have a guideline from co-op, what Ian already pasted. But I think we can put as a topic for discussions what other people feel about it. In general, I think looking at the community at this moment, only few people are involved from an activist point of view. I think in the governance meeting, there'll be more people. I think there'll be more voices. They can bring different point of view, how we do some of the things internally. But for co-op, there's a certain structure how we have to follow, right? We already have committees, and how we channel our proposal to board or how it's being done. I think that is already being done pretty well, or people are following it.
All right. Well, we've got about 2 minutes left, so let's take that as an action point. Was there anything else anyone wanted to say before we sign off?
I wanted to say we do have the governance forum discussion items, which has an agenda in it, and I encourage people to comment in that agenda. It looks like Saturday is the day for cooperative maintenance.
Please send a link to Chantal, because she's making the minutes. And is that okay?
In the chat.
Okay. I've also one update. We have now an automated JavaScript from GitHub to the spreadsheet for filling in the participants on each subject. So now we have to add budgets to all the issues, and then before the 31st of January we have to add also the rewards, and then the system is going to run more smooth as before.
Do you have a link to that as well?
To the spreadsheet? Yeah, I will put it.
Thank you. And for everyone as an FYI, so the link that has the agenda, I will also add in every week. I will add in what has been discussed in the action points. So it would be good if everyone can have a look at that and add anything that they want to discuss during these meetings.
Okay, I have also one more question. In the next hangout of Greg, could you give a little summary of what we've been talking about?
Yeah,
Chantal?
no problem.
Yeah?
Yep, that's fine.
Wonderful. With a camera or not?
Well, it's early in the morning for me, so I'm getting ready while I'm listening to Greg's hangout. So I don't know if you want to see me as I just get out of bed, but
Yes,
I can turn it on when I do the summary. All right, okay. No problem.
Hey, is
right,
available? Can we talk after this call for 10-15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a good day. Bye.
Have a good day.
Later.
So I changed the permissions on the document to anyone can comment, because it was anyone could edit. But then apparently they got changed again, because now I had to request permission to access the document.
Yeah, I can't access it anymore.
Yeah, you have to be part of the Google group. So, but I can change it again for you, Jim, that anybody has access.
Can you make it anyone can comment? That's what I tried.
Okay, I will do that, yeah. Navneet, I have to end this meeting and then I will start it again.
Sounds good.
Bye, guys.
Later.